Imagine stepping off a transatlantic liner in 1947. You're pregnant, you're carrying this huge secret, and the very first person you seek out isn't quite what you expected. Or maybe she is, just not in the way you pictured.
Yeah, it's quite the setup.
Right. That's just the start of this really wild, truth-seeking deep dive we're embarking on today. We're pulling back the layers on a story that spans 2 world wars. It's about how the lives of 2 women, separated by decades, they get unexpectedly tangled up.
Through a shared search, right?
Yeah.
And this common enemy.
Exactly. It's all spies, secrets, and these enduring ripple effects of conflict on people's lives. You'll meet Charlie St. Clair. She's a young American woman. It's 1947, and she's facing this really deep personal crisis. She's desperate to find her lost cousin, Rose.
And then there's Eve Gardner.
Ah, Eve. Mysterious, battle-scarred, English. Her past is basically the key to Charlie's whole quest.
And what a past it is, steeped in the really dangerous world of World War I espionage. So our mission today is to piece together their extraordinary journey. We want to reveal the surprising connections between their 2 timelines, 1915 and 1947.
And unearth the facts behind the story of courage, betrayal, and this relentless hunt for justice.
Right. We'll be navigating a pretty complex web of source material to show how these 2 women, decades apart, are linked by this single formidable adversary and this shared quest for truth. It's almost obsessive.
Obsessive is a good word for it.
You'll hear about wartime heroism that just defied expectations, some of the darkest corners of human nature, honestly, and these powerful, unexpected bonds that form when people face unimaginable adversity.
Okay, so let's unpack Charlie's situation first. 1947, she arrives in Southampton in May, but like you said, this is no vacation.
No, definitely not. Our sources tell us she's 3 months pregnant. It's the little problem, as her mother calls it.
Ugh, yeah. And her mother's discreetly arranged for it to be taken care of at a clinic in Switzerland, of all places.
And Charlie's just numb, full of grief, shame. She even thinks of herself as a troublemaking slut. That's a direct quote from the feeling described.
It's just this crushing weight of expectation and judgment she's under.
Exactly. But what's really interesting about Charlie here is, despite all that pressure, something else is driving her.
Right. She's secretly got this worn scrap of paper and a dress.
Evelyn Gardner's address. The last known contact for her cousin, Rose Fournier, who vanished back in 1943.
Rose, the one who called her Charlie, her only real confidant. Charlie saw her as, funnier, braver, prettier.
Everything she felt she wasn't. So this search isn't just for Rose. It's almost like she's trying to find a piece of herself or some understanding in her own mess.
And that desperation, it fuels her defiance, doesn't it? Instead of heading straight to Switzerland for that appointment.
She gets on a train to London.
Yes. And the welcome she gets. Wow. She gets to Eve's address expecting, I don't know, maybe someone prim, privet hedges and a rolled bun as she pictures it.
And instead?
Instead, she's met by this gaunt, furious woman, smelling of whiskey, pointing a pistol right at her.
Whoa. Okay. Not the warm welcome.
Not at all. Eve's hands are visibly mangled, all scarred and twisted, and she just dismisses Charlie's search. Basically says, a lot of dead ends in that war. Chilling.
That first meeting just throws you right in, establishes the stakes, shows you how deeply scarred Eve is.
But it's also where their weird alliance starts.
Yeah, this improbable foundation. And soon they're joined by Finn Kilgore. He's Eve's Scottish driver and cook.
Finn, I like Finn, ex-Royal Artillery from World War II. Got that Scots burr kind of casual grace about him.
He's the practical one, isn't he? The anchor.
Yeah.
Cooks these one-pan miracles. His steady presence is such a contrast to Eve's volatility and Charlie's initial shock.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for Charlie, and it shows her finding her feet a bit.
The money situation.
Yes. She finds out her trust fund. Totally inaccessible without Daddy's permission. Big hurdle.
Right, so what does she do?
She decides to pawn her grandmother's pearls. These spectacular French pearls, double strand, that were meant for her and Rose as wedding gifts.
Wow, that's significant. Selling a piece of that connection to Rose almost.
It is. And what's really surprising is Eve, this crazy old bat who greeted her with a gun, she actually helps her get a decent price for them.
Huh. But not out of charity, I bet.
Oh, no. Eve demands payment for her services. It sets up their partnership, you know? Transactional, but based on this deep mutual need. For Charlie, it's not just cash. It's her first real step toward independence.
Yeah, taking control, born out of pure necessity. But to really get Eve, the woman Charlie meets, and understand this whole journey, We have to rewind way back.
To the First World War, Eve's past, 1915 and 1918.
Exactly. Flashback to 1915 London. Eve Gardner is an orphan working in an office. Very self-conscious about her stammer.
Oh, the stammer. That becomes important later, doesn't it?
It really does. So she gets recruited for intelligence work by Captain Cecil Aylmer Cameron. He's described as this lanky, rumpled, quintessential British gentleman.
Her Uncle Edward.
Right. He recruits her because her French and English are impeccable, perfect for spying in occupied France, even though she lies about not knowing German.
Which she totally does know. Sneaky even then.
Shows that early spark of deception, doesn't it?
And who trains her? The legendary Lily. Louise de Bettigny.
Ah, the queen of spies. Lily is Eve's superior, her mentor. Just this incredibly charismatic, fearless figure, master of disguise, master of nerve.
Our sources mention her morally questionable hats.
Yes, and using sheer irritation, apparently, to just breeze past German checkpoints, she teaches Eve the real deal about spying.
Which isn't glamorous James Bond stuff.
Not at all. Lily says it's deadly dull most of the time, tedious detail work, but then punctuated by moments of absolute terror.
That constant danger making it thrilling in a horrible way.
Precisely. So Eve gets her assignment, alias Marguerite Lefrançois. Her mission, infiltrate Lilith.
Lilith, this fashionable restaurant in occupied Lille, crawling with German officers.
And run by René Bordelon. Described as a beast, a damned profiteer.
And Eve uses her stammer here as part of the cover.
Cleverly weaponizes it. Makes her seem less intelligent, less threatening. It's a smart move, using society's assumptions against them to get closer.
That's a really sharp insight. But Bordelon himself, René Bordelon, sounds genuinely disturbing.
Oh, he is elegant, very observant. He pegs Eve's Lorraine accent almost immediately, starts testing her, probing.
And then it gets darker. He forces her into this intimate relationship.
Yeah, calls her his creation. It's chilling. Eve despises him, obviously, but she endures it. Why?
To get information. She notes that he liked to talk over a pillow.
Exactly. Discussing Baudelaire, Sadie, Klimt, all while she's gathering intelligence. It's this really insidious psychological manipulation. The personal becomes the mission.
The personal cost just keeps mounting. She becomes pregnant. By René.
Which, in her situation, under wartime conditions, is just unthinkable. The risk is immense.
So she makes an incredibly difficult choice, an abortion.
Facilitated by another network member, Violette, described as sturdy, loyal. But this experience, it's deeply traumatic for Eve. It really underscores the hidden sacrifices, the brutal choices these women faced, things history often just glosses over.
And the stakes just keep rising. Eve gets critical intel about the Kaiser's train visit.
But the bombing attempt, based on it, fails.
Yeah.
And then, disaster strikes. Eve and Lily are caught at a checkpoint.
And Lily does something incredible.
An amazing act of courage. She protects Eve, claims Eve is just some stupid little shop girl she bumped into, sacrifices herself, essentially.
But René Bordelon gets his hands on Eve.
Yes. And the torture is brutal. He deliberately breaks her fingers, mangled hands, remember?
Oh, God, that's how
it happened. But he does something even worse psychologically. He tells her, falsely, that she betrayed Lily while under opium.
Why? Why lie like that?
To amplify his sick sense of triumph over her. To inflict this deep, lasting psychological wound. Pure cruelty.
Making her think she caused her mentor's capture.
Exactly. So the consequences are just devastating. Eve spends 2.5 brutal years in Siegburg prison. Cold, deprivation, just hellish.
And Lily?
Tragically, Lily dies in prison, a plural abscess. So Eve is left with this profound grief, but it's compounded by this heavy false burden of guilt, the guilt René manufactured.
And that explains so much about the Eve that Charlie meets in 47. Hardened, distrustful.
It's not just her personality, it's deep, unhealed trauma from that betrayal and imprisonment.
Okay, so let's jump back. Fast forward to 1947. The shared hunt begins. Charlie, Eve, and Finn start tracing René Bordelon.
From WWI Lille, they follow his trail to WWII Limoges, where he operated under a new name.
René Dumalessy. Even the names sound sinister. And the locals, they remember him.
Oh, they do. With venom, they call him a filthy collaborator. His depravity clearly didn't end with the First War.
And there's this chilling story from an old woman in Limoges about René Dumalessy shooting a young sous chef.
In the back. For allegedly stealing silver. She calls him an elegant killer.
Elegant killer. It shows he evolved, didn't he? From just a profiteer to something much colder, more calculated.
Absolutely. It's a crucial piece of the puzzle for them. Shows the monster they're truly hunting.
So the trail leads them somewhere truly awful. Order-Circlane.
The martyr village.
Yeah.
Ghostly, abandoned, a site of just unimaginable horror.
They meet Madame Ruffauche there, the sole survivor of the massacre by German soldiers on June 10th, 1944.
And she just calmly describes it all.
Yeah.
The church burning with people inside, the mass shootings, the shallow graves. It's harrowing.
And then the moment Charlie's been dreading but also needing, Madame Ruffauche sees the photo of Rose.
And identifies her. Confirms Rose died there in the Oradour massacre.
It's just the final devastating answer, shattering that last bit of hope, but finally giving her a concrete, terrible truth.
And in that moment of absolute grief for Charlie, Finn steps up.
Yeah. He comforts her, and he shares his own trauma.
Reveals he was part of the liberation of Belsen concentration camp. In April 45, he talks about the living ghosts, the unforgettable smell of death.
Wow. Sharing that horror, it creates this incredibly deep bond between them, doesn't it?
A profound human connection, forged in shared understanding of loss that words can barely touch. They find solace in just being there for each other.
It's a real turning point, especially for Charlie. After Oradour, after finding out about Rose, she makes this huge decision.
About the baby.
Yes. She decides to keep her baby, to embrace her future, whatever it holds. It's like she finally steps into her own strength.
And she creates this whole cover identity.
Yeah.
To navigate the world now.
Mrs. Donald McGowan, widow. Husband was a Yale-educated tank corps lawyer, very specific.
And Eve, surprisingly, helps her hone it. Master of deception coaching the novice. Emphasizing the little details that make a story believable.
It shows how much Charlie's grown, taking charge like that.
But there's still Eve's burden, that false guilt about Lily. Charlie can't let it go.
Right. She remembers Eve's nightmares, the weight she carries. So Charlie pushes Violet, the contact from WWI, to search the old trial records.
Using her own legal knowledge from summers at her dad's office.
Exactly. And eventually a telegram arrives from Violet with the truth.
The agonizing truth. Lily wasn't betrayed by Eve at all. It was another cellmate, Mademoiselle Tellier, trying to get a reduced sentence.
René Bordelon lied. He deliberately lied during the torture to make Eve think she was the informer, to break her completely.
And learning this, it finally shatters that decades-long burden for Eve. It frees her from that psychological prison René built.
So with Eve finally knowing she's innocent, the focus shifts to justice or maybe revenge.
They find René, now living as René Gautier, retired, in a charming villa in Grasse, of all places.
And Eve, she is consumed. Fierce desire for revenge now that she knows the truth.
And Charlie, she's right there with her.
Yeah.
Determined to get justice for Rose, too. It's not just Eve's fight anymore.
For Eve, it's about reclaiming herself, honoring Lily. For Charlie, it's acknowledging Rose's horrific forgotten end.
The showdown at René's villa, it's incredibly tense and violent.
Eve confronts him, and despite her mangled hands, her past trauma, she shoots him. Multiple times.
Kills him. It's brutal, visceral, a final, definitive act against the man who tormented her for decades.
But it's not over. Eve is wounded, bleeding badly from the shoulder, maybe even seeking death herself.
And this is where Charlie steps in again, in such a powerful way.
She remembers her brother James's suicide, that fear of losing someone else she cares about. She refuses to let Eve die.
So she wrestles the Luger from Eve's hooked fingers, uses linen shirts, brandy, whatever she can find, to stop the bleeding.
Yelling, "I will not," as Eve tries to push her away. It's this complete reversal from their first meeting. Charlie's saving Eve now, pulling her back.
Amazing turnaround. So they escape to Paris. Eve recovers.
And René's death, it makes the papers, but just as a former restaurateur dead, maybe robbery, maybe retribution for his wartime collaboration.
But Charlie makes sure a hint of the truth is there. She leaves that photo René with his Nazi pals on his chest. A subtle message.
Very strategic. And then new beginnings. Charlie finally stands up to her parents, introduces Finn.
As her fiancé.
Yes. Embracing her future, her choices. She gets her pearls back, too. That symbol of her reclaimed future.
And Eve. Finally free from the false guilt, she finds peace. Real peace. Knowing the truth about Lily, about her own innocence, she can finally start to heal. You know, what's really fascinating here is seeing how the trauma of one war, specifically that psychological damage, the false guilt, how it directly shapes everything that happens decades later.
Yeah, the personal struggles are so tied up with the bigger conflicts, past betrayals just echoing down the years.
Demanding some kind of reckoning, even if it's outside the official channels.
It's just an incredible story of resilience, isn't it? After everything, war, betrayal, loss, They find a way, not just to survive, but to move forward.
Redefine their lives, create their own kind of justice when the official kind fails.
Definitely.
Which does raise a question, I think, for you listening. In a world where formal justice maybe doesn't always reach, or where personal wounds just linger, what does real justice or maybe healing look like? Especially for people who've endured things most of us can't imagine.
That's a heavy one to ponder. And maybe as you go about your day, think about this too. Is there a truth you might be clinging to, maybe without even realizing it, that's holding you back in some way? And what kind of unexpected alliances could you end up forging on your own journey for understanding or even for your own liberation?